We're getting back. We're back and getting ready for the final Bo3 of the day without being muted. I am JRT once more, and we've got an interesting one coming up for you. Let's check out the schedule and just recap what's happened so far. Today, it is a 2-1 for FORZE Reload, and then Mousquetaires defeated ARCRED and eliminated them from contention 2-1. The same thing in our third match, QMISTRY taking care of the square sausages and sending them packing in a very convincing 13-3 and 13-5 performance on both maps. And then finally, we have ALGO against THE, and this one is actually really interesting. Again, this is another 1-0 match for both these squads, and let's talk about the ALGO squad first, because this one's really interesting to me. This comprises of the ex-Heroic Academy and, you know, the remnants of the ALGO squad, and Yukai and Griller are technically the fraggers for this unit of players, right? You bring Dengzo in as the IGL, Scrob the Opper, and Amber the support player. So, I mean, yeah, I think it was a couple of days ago. I'm not sure if it was yesterday or not. I'm just checking. Yeah, it was actually yesterday. I've been doing a lot of casting lately, guys. Just lost track. But yeah, yesterday, they looked very good. You know, Nukai and Griller were unbelievable. 1.84 rating for Nukai in particular with 41 frags and a plus 9.45% swing percentage, which is excellent. And then Griller behind him at 34. Amber as well. I think Amber had some good CT sides. That's what I recall. And if you look at the stats, that kind of tells the story. Amber was particularly good on Inferno, and then came up with a decent performance on Train as well. But it really was Nukai, along with Griller, that really impressed me a lot, especially on Inferno. Scrob did the work with the AWP. Overall, this looks like a well-balanced squad. So it doesn't always happen when you kind of mash two teams together, two X-cores together. But in this case, at least in their first game played together, it looked pretty good. So yeah, I mean, there's only positives to be stated for that ex-Heroic Academy squad that became part of ALGO. And now we'll switch over to the other side and talk about THE. This is more of an unknown squad that's coming through, and overall they handled ARCRED a lot easier than I thought they would. ARCRED already being eliminated is a surprise to me, so maybe just ARCRED off their game at the moment, and that's why THE looked so good in that matchup. But I still feel like there's something more that may be here, right? Because if you look at the results on this squad, they have won 2 of their last 3 BO3s against Reason. They picked up a map 13-2, even though they lost the other 2 quite convincingly. That 13-2 is like, okay, wait, that's pretty good. Up against a decent Reason squad. Yeah, the 2-0 against Y5 prior to that, 13-7 and 13-6. So maybe there's something cooking here on this side. The 2 players that impressed me the most yesterday for them were Doran and Drez. I mean, honestly, I didn't think that we'd see anything to the level of what we got, especially on map number 1 of Inferno, where it was a 13-3 drubbing. And then you had Drez and Doran along with Vitornik. Yeah, Vitornik was really good on the AWP as well. All 3 of them tying for 15 frags apiece. And then you go on to Mirage, where Vitornik continues his dominant ways, 21 on the board. But it was Doran with the most impact at a 1.45 rating and 22 frags available. So you got a lot of good pieces on the side of THE. I would say, you know, most notably Doran sitting at the top in terms of that 1.44 rating overall in that series. But again, it's like, it's still some unknowns as to what this THE team is going to do, and the same for the other side. But we've seen very good performances in the first BO3s from both teams, so I'm expecting it should be a decent clash that we've got here. Let's see what maps we're going to end up on. And it looks like we're going to have Inferno picked by THE, which was their pick yesterday, and they got that 13-3 up against ARCRED, so it makes sense to go into that again. Train coming through from ALGO, and yeah, they picked that yesterday as well, so each team going with their respective picks that they had success on yesterday. And finally, we're going to have Ancient left over, and I'm just going to go look at the ex-Heroic Academy stats on my side, because I feel like that's kind of an indicator as to performances that we can expect on a map like Ancient specifically. And yeah, they went 1-1 on it, win against NIP Impact 13-4 and lost to Mix 9-13. And actually, that doesn't tell us too much as to what we're going to get. And you look over at THE, we've also got very little intel on that map 3 of Ancient. 1-1 there as well, winning against Y5, lost to Reason 13-6 and 7-13 respectively. If we get to map 3, it's going to be very much an unknown, but I feel like we have got 2 picks that each team could find for themselves in their back pockets. And that's why I'm thinking about Ancient, because I feel like we're going to get there based upon the performances. But, ex-Heroic Academy, let's check out their Inferno. Not played it too much, one time, but it was a win against Mousquetaires, 13-8. And then you look over on the side of THE, and, well, we already talked about that result there. So, yeah, I'm not too sure what we're going to get. Maybe we should look at algos as well. I think it's important because Nukai and Griller are the ones that honestly have looked very effective firepower-wise, and they left playing Inferno as well. 2-1 on it. And defeated Sky Fury and Nip Impact, lost to Reason 5-13. So it feels like there's a trend of losing to Reason here on the server for these two squads. But either way, let's see what the head-to-head is going to bring us. Probably what I've already highlighted for you guys. But yeah, Nukai, yep, at the top there with a 1.18 rating over the last 3 months. And Vitornik at a 1.23 rating. Again, you're going to see that the amount of frags coming through for both sides is kind of low over the last 3 months because, these players haven't necessarily been playing that much. Nukai, they were trying to form a new team out of the pieces of Algo, and Vitornik on the side of THE, these are unknowns that are just trying to come into the Tier 3 space and start competing more consistently at the CCT level. So, it looks like, yeah, we're going to be waiting a few more minutes before we get into the server here, folks. Looks like we're just getting a few last-minute things sorted out. But either way, Vitornik looks like he's going to be quite effective in the opping duel. I feel like if I had to compare the two players, Scrob and Vitornik, I feel like Vitornik might have a bit of an edge in terms of his mechanics, just a slight bit sharper than Scrob. Not to say Scrob wasn't good, like I mentioned before, very strong on train. He was one of the most important pieces, and I mentioned this whenever I cast train, but you need your opper to be on point. Like, the op can have so much impact on train. I think it's the one map where you're like, maybe overpass as well, but train is, in my mind, the map where the op can absolutely by itself take control of the flow of play, because you just have so many spots that you can rotate to. You have Ivy, where you can watch into T-Con from and watch Ivy as well, and then you can go rotate into Connector, where you get full visibility of the A site, and you can have an impact on any player that's charging in from T side, whether it be from Pop Dog or over at the T-Con position, even Ivy, right? Because you can see from bomb site now straight into Ivy. So it's just like, that's the power position. And then if you need to, from Connector in particular, you can rotate towards B. You can even hold angles from CT towards lower tunnels or upper tunnels. My point is, and I think you're getting it, the op, you can even run double ops very, very easily on a map like train if the money is available to you. So yeah, I think that having a very strong primary opper and even a good secondary opper on that map will make a difference. Right now, I think both teams just mostly have their primary opper, not really much of a secondary opper in the mix there. But still, I do feel like that can be a difference maker on that map, and that's why THE picked into it, because yes, I made a mistake. Sorry, THE did not pick into it. That's why Algo picked it, was what I meant. They feel like Scrob is the better opper, although we'll see if that is the case, if they can come out. And of course, they feel like they're the better team on the map as well. That goes without saying. Looks like we're still waiting to jump on in here. To be quite frank, folks, it just THE were not on my radar at all coming into this series, as like I didn't think that they would necessarily be able to do much. But at the same time, let's look at their results overall. You see that they, like I already talked about it, pushed Reason to 3 maps. One win, that one actually was pretty close, right? They lost that one 0-2 in the previous CCT series, right? That was in the play-in group stage, and they went 1-2. And then you have, but as mentioned, went 24 rounds, almost 24 rounds on train, and then overtime on Mirage. All right, guys. Unfortunately, it seems like it's going to take a little bit longer to get into things than we expected, so we will be throwing it to a break, but when we come back, we'll jump right into the action on Inferno. All right, we're heading into the action here on Inferno. ALGO versus THE. And we'll see which of these two teams with their dominant performances yesterday will come through and be able to shine here. Will it be an all-out brawl or will one of them take control? Players to watch on ALGO, Nukai and Griller. And on the other side, I would say Vitornik and Doran. Keep your eye on those 4 players. Doran, great flashbang for him. Sanj gets the assist on that one with the flashbang. And a 5v4, no response from ALGO. THE continue their pathing. In fact, towards the A site, it's just Doran that's lurking around B. Could catch another one here. That's the player with util too in Dengzo. Oh, he slipped past the angle? This could be really bad for Dengzo. Anber walking into the angle that Drez is holding, but he does hit that. And in fact, Dengzo finds Doran as well. A brief 4v3 that KRC turns back in his team's favor. 2v2 now as Griller spots out Vitornik before he can join up with his teammates on the A site. So we are indeed in the early moments looking like it's going to be an all-out clash between these two squads. Griller, along with Dengzo, going for the retake. They throw their nades in the same spot, hoping that they can connect for a frag, but they do not. It at least confirms that no one's in that position for them. But now it'll just be up to the bullets and the crosshairs. KRC gets the first onto Griller in the post plant. Dengzo, what can you do? Time ticking away. No kit and no life. KRC, the quad kill here for THE. And it will be a 1-0 lead in their favor. I mean, that was so back and forth, though. Doran finding the opener there on the Glock, and then back come ALGO, able to equalize multiple times until the advantage goes THE's way for the deciding moments. 1-0 in favor of THE. Now they're going to charge forward with a buy-up that'll feature a couple of rifles and 3 MAC-10s. On the other side, ALGO are forcing up UMP-45, MP9, a 5.7, and a Deagle. Anber has the Scout as well. ALGO stacking up 4 players on A. Only one is... actually, 2 are watching bracket now. I would expect all 4 to be in that position, to be honest, given this type of... the round that we're in and the buy-up that they have, and that's exactly what the case will be. Good pop flash thrown, but no one on the receiving end of it. THE actually grouping up 3 players on Banana, and there's the opener onto Dengzo. There's no one else on B. Anber's going to try and hightail it over, but he's only got the Scout. Yeah, he can't deal with those MAC-10s. There goes Anber. Griller falls as well, and THE have all the control in the world here and will end the round quickly. Drez gets the last, a 3K for him, and THE are up 2-0. That force buy disposed of. ALGO going to be on the full eco. Maybe see some upgrades here. Scrob wants to save for the AWP, so probably doesn't want to spend that money in his bank account. Griller could afford to spend maybe 300. Get a P250. Decides to go for 500 and upgrade to a 5.7. Nukai on the Deagle. So yeah, upgraded pistols, but nothing else available for ALGO. No util, no armor, no kits. All 5 players stacked up on the A site. THE are going in the opposite direction. Once they find out that B is clear, they will ferry that bomb over down Banana. KRC knows that there's players trying to peek towards mid. He just keeps his AK locked and loaded. He waits for engagements. Oh, nice peek. Dengzo gone. Does a ton of damage to Scrob as well. This round is effectively already done. There's an interesting flank materializing from Nukai, but it's being watched. And yeah, he won't be able to connect on much of anything. There go the MAC-10s, farming the money. $600 a piece for those MAC-10s, so that makes it $1,800 total. Earned by Vitornik and Doran combined. Griller, will you get anything? No. Doran actually makes it a clean $2,400 now. Well done to maximize the amount of money gained in their bank accounts and prevent ALGO from doing anything frag-wise. 3-0 for THE. Here come the guns for ALGO. Sanj dropping a nade for his teammates, I'd imagine. Probably Vitornik. Or maybe just gonna save it for later. Excuse me. We'll see. KRC nades up, flashbang out, and Bert thinks about going for the fight, but instead backs off towards Arch. Wants to get some information and will maybe keep them at bay with that smoke. No, they go through it. No hesitation. This is something THE have a lot of confidence in, and that's their aim. And winning duels, they will get a couple in their favor. The trades lead to a man advantage. And now, I don't think that ALGO's going to want this at all. Yeah, they just take the op and the M4 away from that site instead of fighting forward because they didn't even have their other player, Dengzo, in the mix. Excuse me, not Dengzo, Griller in the mix. So, just off of that opening duel out of the apartments, THE will win the round. Maybe hunting a little bit. I mean, you don't want to give AKs away, right? But the Galil, perhaps? Interesting. Vitornik handed the M4 instead and wins the duel. Actually, excuse me, Sanj handed the M4 instead and wins the duel with Griller. Takes a lot of damage, but if he doesn't have the M4, I'm not sure he wins that one. The Galil doing a little less damage. Being a little harder to control the spray. So very well done for THE. They deny at least one gun from ALGO into this next round. But yeah, you just saw the duel that mattered there at the beginning towards the A site out of apartments and lane. THE take the 4-0 lead. ALGO going to get another crack at it here. THE, despite Vitornik's abilities on the AWP, run the op. Do not run the op on Inferno T side. Only on CT side. Plenty of cash available. That could change, right? If they decide to mix things up and say, okay, Vitornik, you got 11K. If you die in this round, go for it. Opener from Scrub. Okay, here we go. ALGO finally get what they're looking for. And a 5v4 advantage. Still over a minute left for THE to work with. But time is going to whittle away. Oh no, Griller gets a little over aggressive. I understand it with the MP9, hoping to get some frags through the smoke, but it costs him his life. Now we have even numbers, 4v4, 45 seconds now left on the clock. THE just looking to see if a flank is materializing, but this is a B finish. Couple of smokes left. Make that 3. So they can get a pretty decent execute going. CT smoke's not the best because they don't get it for the boost spot, but still enough to allow them to get towards that bomb site. Dengzo spams away before the smoke guises off his vision, throws off a flashbang. It's a prayer, and his prayer does not get answered. KRC delivers the bullets, raining them down from above. And it will be a 4v2. Or I should say raining them up from below. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Scrub and Yukai, last two standing. Feels like Yukai wants to go for this. That's surprising, as he will not get anything out of that round. Yukai gone. Scrub the last one standing. 34 HP, just wants to save the AWP and will at least get one on the tail end, but I imagine they're going to keep chasing. There's so much money. Scrub has hit all the shots. Needs to kill every single member of THE, and he won't be able to do so. Op grabbed off the ground, so I guess they do want to run it, especially if it's for free. KRC going to drop that over for Vitornik. And THE up 5-0. Not to mention, KRC hasn't died yet. He keeps doing this. Multi-kill after multi-kill. I believe he's had 2 frags in every single round. At a minimum. Or I should say exactly 2 frags every single round. Oh, what's this? Dengzo getting aggressive. The nade sailing through. ALGO getting a man advantage, but it only lasts briefly because the trades are right there. Like the idea, though, because they get an upgrade, a couple of upgrades, an AK and an AWP off the ground. Drez spamming through the smoke. Does do a little bit of damage onto Griller. ALGO have Griller posture deep down banana. THE lurking in the shadows. That boiler, that's Doran. Clears things out. Griller wins the fight against KRC. That's the bomb. That is the bomb dropped. But ALGO do not post up with it. Instead, Griller falls back. And I mean, Drez is looking for it. It's like, where did they go? Had to have known the bomb was down on the ground. But instead, he falls back. AWP in Anber's hands. Holding the line. Needs to hit this shot. Doesn't. Misses it. And now that'll give the opportunity for THE to strike. He does allow himself to reset. Goes to new box. But there is a Molotov there and a nade. And he hits the shot on Doran, who's throwing the Molotov for Dark instead of new box. CZ is out. Drez versus Anber on the site, and Drez just can't find him. Anber wins the duel, and ALGO, in the most unexpected of rounds, will take it. Just off of some aggressive utility, toss down banana in the early parts of the round. Couple of nades disrupt the flow for THE, and this is it. You know, you see that second one come through right on your screen. After that, you know, they use the upgraded weapons effectively. Anber, despite missing the first op shot, readjusts well into new box. They don't expect him to be there. They thought he would go towards dark, and that's where the utility was being tossed and the attention was being directed. So THE, despite, you know, looking good in those first 5 rounds and losing that round, they still have a buy up in the tank. Plenty of cash. We already talked about this. Seventh round of play. Sanj spamming the smoke. Utility sailing forward. 3 players heading into bracket, and all